Okay. I know a lot of you are having issues with permission, folder permission. A lot of you are having issues. So my recommendation is before you start the project, whichever the project or whichever the folder you are going to create this project, you can check the permission so that you will not have that problem during developing the inputs actually. So what I would recommend is when you go here, so demo 1 is your folder. So right click, go to the properties, and under the security tab, make sure not only every user should have the full control. Like for example, this user do not have full control. So you can simply say edit and make it for every user full control. Okay? So once you do this and then click OK and apply, you should not have any more problem after this actually. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's a very important step. Maybe I forgot to tell you that actually, but I think as soon as you create your project, it's a good idea to go out and do that. Okay, so now, any questions before I proceed to the next step? Any questions in general? All the things that we have been going through, the watershed delineation, the HRU creation, and so on?
When we put the information about the stations, the gauges, and we make to put on manual, né? And it's possible to put a table, to import a table.
Yes, you mean for the outlets? Inlets?
Yes, outlet inlets.
Okay.
Yes.
So yes, you can provide a table in the format. So there is an example input file in the example data set. As long as you prepare in the same format, yes, you can. Okay. You can. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Yeah. So yeah, if you have the gauge data, you can do two ways. Either you can create the table, exact location of the gauge, or you can overlay the gauge on the map and then put a point right there. Because you're not going to have too many points, right? Maybe 2 to 5 gauges in a watershed. You can just put a dot there. That's another option. Yeah. Any other questions, please? Anyone else? Anybody online? No questions online? Okay. So the next step is to create HRUs. Is it too small? I don't know what else to do to. Is it better? Okay. There are 5 different options to choose your HRUs. Okay? So the total number of HRU in the watershed is 617 HRUs, right? That's a unique combination. Okay? So if you want to look at them, I think there may be a way to look at it. Let me see if I can. Yeah. So this is the full HRU list. If I open this table, if I select full HRUs and open this table, open the attribute table, you will see the 617 unique combination. Do you see this? Here is the full HRU. Okay. And then you have to select the attribute table. on the top here. So this shows you the subbasin number, the channel, the landscape, whether it is an upland or floodplain. Okay? Land use, soils, and the slope class. So that becomes one unique HRU. And here is the area in hectares, and the subbasin percentage, the landscape percentage, and what is connected to what. So let's not worry about this right now. So these are the important thing is each HRU there is a subbasin. Okay, subbasin percentage or area. So you can see in area there are some HRUs that are just 1 pixel. 30 meter by 30 meters, right? 1 pixel is 30 by 30. So that's 900 square meter or 0.09 hectare. Okay? So that's what you're seeing. There are HRUs that are just 1 pixel. I mean, this could happen because of different reasons. One is you are overlaying 5 different GIS layers. So there will be edge. Along the edge, there will be just odd pixels that may have different combination because it's a combination of 5 different layers. Or your data is not perfect, right? So when you do a GIS, when you do projection, there will be distortion. There is a slight distortion. So that can cause these odd pixels. Okay? So the question here is, am I going to model every pixel, or we are going to model the dominant landscapes in the watershed? Okay? So that means we can say that in this watershed of size, say, 20 square kilometer, I'm not going to model 0.09 or 0.09 hectare or 0.009 square kilometer. So it's a very, very small percentage. So you could come back and say, okay, I'm not going to model if anything less than, say, 0.5 square kilometer or 0.2 square kilometer if your watershed is of the size of 20 square kilometer. If the watershed is of the 20,000 square kilometer, you may say even 10 square kilometer or 20 square kilometer, I'm not going to model actually. Okay? So it all relatively what is you want to model actually. What is it that you want to eliminate these small pixels? Okay? So that's what we are going to do in the next step. Next step would be how to eliminate certain HRU that are very, very small, that are purely there because of error in the data. Okay? It is not intentional that we are having that one pixel. It is because of the error, because we combine 5 different layers actually. Does that make sense? Any questions on that?
How did you open this table?
Oh, okay. So to open this table, you make sure you go down and select full HRU. Okay? And then there is an attribute table on the top here, you can see that. Or you can press F6. Okay? That should open up this table. So in this watershed, there are 617 unique. So if you want to find out what is the unique about this particular landscape, let me see what the size. This is just 1 pixel. Let me take it to something else, a little bit bigger one. So like this. This is an agricultural land. When I select that, it shows you where the HRUs are located in the watershed. Okay? So you can see the HRUs are still not connected, meaning they are not contiguous. So your HRU can be discontiguous, like what you see here. But they are in the same subbasin, same landscape, same of everything, same channel. So they are not in 2 different channels. Okay? So this is the biggest improvement compared to the current SWAT. In the current SWAT, all of them are connected to this blue line. Here, these are connected to now this light blue line or cyan line actually. So thereby you are preserving the location of your HRU where they are in the watershed. Does that make sense? For those who may have understood the previous SWOT, you will appreciate this SWOT plus allowing you to keep where they are located. So that means these two landscape has same soil, same slope class, same land use, same stream, and same subbasin. So they are like a homogeneous. Okay? Any questions in understanding this? Okay. You can select any of them and be able to see where they are distributed. So here is another one. Or if you want to select another one, so you can select another one, and here you can see them where they are located. Okay, so now in this next step, here where you see the single and multiple HRUs, here you can select 5 different options. Dominant land use, dominant soil, dominant slope. What does that mean? That means you're saying just allocate only one HRU per subbasin, which doesn't make sense. I don't know why we even keep it there anymore. Actually, we should remove that option, because all the reason of doing HRU is to have spatial distribution, to look at the spatial heterogeneity or the variability over the space. So you don't want to use the first 2 options. Both of them are dominant. Then the third option is filter by land use and soil and slope. Here, it allows you to say, I want to consider only if the land use is above certain percentage or certain area. If the land use is above 2%, consider, otherwise don't consider. If the soil is above 2%, then consider the HRU, otherwise don't consider. So you can set your own threshold. Okay? If you know more about your land use and more about your soil, let's say, for example, one other question he was asking me was, my land use is very, very detailed map, my soil is very poor soil map. So in that condition, soil may not matter that much actually compared to the land use. Okay? So you want to keep your soil land use percentage smaller so that you want to capture the spatial representation of your land use, whereas when it comes to soil, it may not be important because your soil is not a very good distribution or very detailed soils map. Okay? So the scale of your map could determine how to screen or how to delineate. The other option is filter by area. So filter by area is, you can say, this is my minimum area. Anything above this is acceptable, anything below is rejected. So you could say 1 hectare, okay, or 1 square kilometer, depending on the size of the basin. So it will automatically go through all your HRU. Anything less than that will get removed. Anything above that will retain. When I say removed, it does not remove from the modeling perspective. In other words, you are still modeling the same watershed, same size of the watershed. Let's say 20 square kilometer. You're still modeling 20 square kilometer. Let's say because of this small HRU, you are removing, say, 1.5 square kilometer out of the 20. That 1.5 square kilometer will get redistributed to the other HRUs, renormalized to the other HRUs based on the weight, based on the size of that sub HRUs. If particular HRU has got 2 square kilometer, it will have 20% weight. Out of the 10 square kilometer, that's 20% weight. If another one has got 5, that will have almost 50% weight actually. So depending on the weight of your HRU, it will get automatically readjusted to the other HRUs. Okay? Later I will show you what those numbers look like. It will create a table for you, comparison table, before and after threshold application. And the last option here is I'm not going to care about exactly how much area. I'm going to divide this watershed into 400 HRUs. That means we have 617 total. You want only 400, then it will remove the bottom 217 HRUs. The smallest 217 HRUs, it will remove automatically. Okay? So you have lots of choices here how you want to determine or how you want to decide to go about selecting your HRU for final modeling. If you don't want to touch anything, you can leave them like it is, then it will consider all 617. So this is not a required option. If you don't want, say, I don't want to eliminate anything, even 1 pixel, I want to still model, you can still model. Okay? So absolutely there is no problem in doing that either actually. The main idea here is to eliminate those HRUs that are not significantly going to contribute to your end result. Those HRU that has got no consequences. You can do the worst or you can be the best, doesn't matter to the model because that's so small in percentage, so small in the contribution to the watershed, it doesn't matter. So that's what we are trying to eliminate, or we are trying to reduce that through this process. Questions in understanding this concept? Do you want to give another explanation? Yeah, go talk about that. Yeah, only on the type and the general concept of why are we reducing and what's the implications.
Bom, então, eu não sei, todo mundo chegou nesse ponto aí com sucesso? Todo mundo conseguiu chegar aí? Tá. Então, normalmente, aqui é uma bacia hidrográfica relativamente até pequena, então tem aí 617 HRUs, né, nesse caso, por exemplo. Mas mesmo nessa bacia, você pode ter HRUs, que são uma combinação única hidrológica, né, de resposta hidrológica, muito pequenos. Então, por exemplo, ele mostrou vários que têm aí uma área de 1 pixel, que é 30 por 30, né? Então, são áreas pequenas, que às vezes não são significativas para você realmente modelá-las, né, de forma individual. Então, o que você pode fazer é diminuir, suprimir essas áreas, né, tirar esses HRUs, e essas áreas que eram desses HRUs menores vão ser redistribuídas para os outros HRUs que estão dentro da bacia hidrográfica da mesma forma. Então, seguindo a área, o percentual de área de cada um dos HRUs, tá, que tinha antes na bacia hidrográfica. Então, tem um respeito aí pela área que tinha anterior. E aí tem esses 5 métodos para diminuir o número de HRUs que ele mostrou, que são esses 5 que estão aqui. E aí, os 2 primeiros, na verdade, você elimina um pouco dessa distribuição espacial, que é o que a gente está tentando trazer, né, com o SWOT, então não são tão interessantes, que seriam utilizar os mais dominantes. E aí tem esses 3 métodos aqui, que são os principais. Então, você pode filtrar aí por área, por exemplo, dizer abaixo de uma determinada área, esses HRUs não me interessam, esses muito pequenos, tá? E aí ele vai suprimir esses HRUs e essa área vai ser redistribuída, então ela vai ser ainda modelada, né? Não é isso que... Mas ela vai ser utilizada com os outros. E aí também você pode, por exemplo, dizer aqui em relação ao número. Então, eu tenho 617 HRUs aqui, mas falar, não, eu quero diminuir isso, por exemplo, principalmente numa bacia muito grande. Eu tenho muitos HRUs e isso vai me dar muito processamento, vai ser complicado depois para eu calibrar. Então, eu quero reduzir esse número para um número 400, 300 HRUs. Então, você faz isso e ele vai pegar os menores e vai suprimir os menores, tá? E aí também o método também seria aqui filtrar ou por declividade, ou por solo, ou por uso do solo. Então, você pode dizer, aí a gente vai mostrar agora um pouquinho mais, mas você pode dizer até que % que você poderia, por exemplo, tirar, dependendo do uso do solo. Então, tem algumas opções para reduzir aí o número de HRUs e, principalmente, tirar esses que não são muito representativos, que são muito pequenos em si, que podem ser só uma questão de, por ter feito um overlay, né, uma sobreposição de diversas camadas diferentes, ficaram algumas áreas pequenininhas. Tá? Não sei. Vocês entenderam bem aí? Tá. Então tá bom. Qualquer dúvida é só falar.
Okay. So now let's, mostly I use either filter by area, where you need to specify what is the area, okay? Or you can filter by, I think I need to make this bigger. Okay. Yeah, when I say filter by area, I can specify the area and then put the hectares. What should be the minimum area that you want to consider? Okay, I used to use this option more often, and I normally take 1% of the watershed. Okay, so if it is a 10 square kilometer, then 1% is 0.1 square kilometer. Okay, as a threshold. So anything less than 0.1 square kilometer, you could remove them and whatnot. And now we have this newer option called target number of HRUs. So this is another way to do that. So I could simply say out of the 647, the minimum is 147. You cannot go below 147 in this. So it's already set the lower number. But the higher number can be as big as you want, actually. So you could say, I want to model anything up to, say, 500 HRUs. So it will automatically go up to, I can just type it here. Oops. $500. Okay? So that means we are going to model the top 500 HRUs in area. So it will automatically remove. This is an iterative process. You don't have to settle now. You can run this, take a look at it. If you don't like it, you can go back and modify again, actually, until you are done with it, actually. Okay? So let's say I say 500, and then say create HRUs. Click create HRUs. Okay, don't worry about this. This is a new one that we are adding, so don't worry about it. Okay, so here is the actual HRU. So the previous one is the full HRU. Now the actual HRU, the full HRU is now removed from the system, I think. Okay, yeah, it's removed. So this is the actual. Oh, that's LSU. Okay. Oh, there is one. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah. That is the full. So if I zoom in, you will see some pixels gone. See these pixels here? These are all the one that got removed. These are the HRU that got removed. Most of them are 1 or 2 pixels. Okay? So that's why they got removed, because they are around the edge of your subbasin, around the boundary of your subbasin. Okay? So all those green dots that you see there, those are all the HRU that got removed, because from 617 to 500, there are 117 HRU got removed through that process. Any questions in understanding this? If you don't accept, you can go back to the previous step and change that value. Okay? And you can redo this as many number of times as you want. So you can see throughout this, there are 1 or 2 pixels like this, actually. Yeah, more pixels like this, actually. Very small number of pixels. Okay? Okay, so next. So once you create the HRU, the next menu will appear, editing input and outputs. Okay? So all the GIS operations are completed at this time. Okay, hereafter we are not going to use GIS, we are going to just use a simple editor, SWAT plus editor. Okay, so the GIS is used for watershed delineation, land use and soil and slope to delineate your HRU, then filter your HRU. Those are all the functions we really use for GIS. So from here onwards, it's going to be SWAT editor. When we finish running the model, you can come back and visualize your output through GIS again. Okay, you can plot your time series, you can do animation, you can create average maps. All those things can be done through GIS again, actually. So we are using GIS as a basically a database editor or input editor for SWAT plus. Okay, before I go to the edit input runs, there are certain things, reports you can view. You can look at your elevation report. For example, if you click elevation report, it gives you the distribution of your elevation. what is the minimum elevation, what is the maximum elevation, and the mean elevation, for example. Okay? So when you look at this here, it gives you the histogram. This is the histogram. Sorry, this is the cumulative probabilities distribution, and this is the histogram. So for example, if you're looking at the elevation 1820, let's say, 1820. So at 1820, there are 0.46% of the watershed is at elevation 1820. And there are 14.6% of the watershed is below elevation 1820, sorry. So you can take this to an Excel and you can able to create a histogram or a probability distribution curve, cumulative distribution curve of area elevation curve, just like what you do in a reservoir. So there you do area volume or height volume, so same thing, elevation volume, elevation area. So by now you know who are asking questions here. You need to go and sit next to them.
After creating HRU, I received the error of fail to generate aquifers shapefile.
It is a work in progress. Don't worry about that actually.
So
that is a new thing that we are creating, and we know that is an error that will get fixed in the future versions. Actually. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you can ignore that error message.
How did you create this? You click on
the select
report to view,
and the first one is elevation.
Yes, but for me,
you don't have elevation?
No,
you have
nothing?
but
I have a Python error. And then it doesn't generate.
So you have a Python error. Is it the same thing that Trini explained in the beginning?
No, but just now it's here.
What about, can you open any other report? None of the reports are openable. The only, it could be that the notepad is not in a default folder maybe. If the notepad is, if the .txt file is not associated with anything. You also get this report by subbasin. So subbasin 1, again maximum, minimum, and mean, and here is the distribution. And then subbasin 2 and so on. What was the error they have?
Okay, no,
It's not
yeah.
Any questions in interpretation of the elevation report? Okay. The next is a land use and soil report. So if you click land use soil report, yeah. That's because you put higher numbers of threshold. So the No. When we did the HRU delineation, what is the threshold did you apply?
Where? I don't remember.
The last step before you close that HRU. Remember the last step we talked about?
In delineation, let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, and he puts 10 and
Ok. Aqui tem, aqui 10. Tá. 10.
Are you able to open the land use report? So you can see the number of subbasins, number of channels, and number of landscape unit. Okay? And it gives you how much area is in floodplain. 25% of your watershed is in floodplain, and 75% is in upland area. Then the forest is 1.47%, agriculture is 87%, and pasture is about 10%. Then there is a soil. There is only two types of soils. And if you look at the slope, 0 to 2%, flat area is only about 8.85, whereas greater than 2% is almost 92% actually. Then you get the same report by subbasin. Within the subbasin, you get by channel, okay? Because each channel has got a landscape, okay? So how much is the floodplain and how much is the upland slope? So it's very, very detailed report that you can use in your analysis of how much is the floodplain and where the water is coming from and where the nutrients, things like that actually. You can be able to analyze it. This report will be very helpful later to understand what's happening in the watershed actually.
Here I have two numbers, one in parentheses and one is separated in the watershed percentage.
Okay, you are looking at HRU, may not be the land use soil report. You are looking at HRU report actually. I have not gone there. I will tell you, I'll show you next.
Oh, yes.
Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Any questions in understanding the land use soil report? This is by subbasin. So by subbasin, by channel, by landscape unit, you can see the distribution of your land use soil and slope. Okay? So the last one is HRU report. Okay? So when you select HRU report, now you will see again the maximum number of subbasins, the total number of channels, landscape unit, and HRUs. Even though I asked for 500 HRUs, it went to 505 because there are certain HRUs you cannot remove. Then you won't have not even one HRU within a landscape actually. So that is a minimum number you need to have actually. So that's why you have about a little bit more than what I requested or what I suggested actually. And in this report, you can again see when you go to the, okay, let me expand this a little bit more. Okay, so you can see for subbasin number 1, the size of your subbasin is 122 hectares. That is 8% of your watershed, 8.38% of your watershed. And the land use distribution for forest, agriculture, and pasture. So this is the original, and this is the current one actually. So what I mean by that is after you apply the threshold, there are certain pixels or certain area get eliminated. So they get readjusted to the remaining land use, remaining soil, and remaining slope. So that's what the number is. One is before, another is after. So I think they made specify the parentheses correspond to value before HRU creation. Okay? So this is before HRU creation, this is after HRU creation. Yes?
Professor, we have a question from our colleagues.
Okay.
They ask, when we have a change in the land use along the space and time, like for example in Caatinga, they have the anthropic action and desertification.
Desertification.
Yes. And this can change the land use like for 30 years. So how can this separate the process?
Okay.
I think that's the question.
I see. Okay. So if you have multiple major vegetation changes, it's best to do it in the management, where you can specify the day and time. It won't be a gradual change, actually. You may have to change it maybe 20% of the watershed from X to Y. So you can have multiple HRUs, and slowly you can, or you can change your plant community. Remember, we talked about plant community where you can have more than one vegetation. So you could say, now it's 80% Caatinga and 20% pasture or grass, okay? So over a period of time, the Caatinga could go down and pasture can go up, actually. So you can change your plant community, thereby you can change your vegetation process. That's one way of doing it, but you have to do it through decision table later in the management, yeah. Not in the input here, actually. Yeah.
Yes, they're asking if it is possible to insert
Multiple land
layers,
use
multiple
map.
layers.
Yeah. No, not here, but in the management you can do that, actually.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you can insert like a table.
Yeah, like not a table, like a decision table. Yeah, it is a decision table. Yes.
Okay.
Any questions on interpreting this table, actually? So you have the subbasin, area, percentage, then the land use, the soil, slope, after and before. This is the before and this is the after of applying the threshold, okay? Then you have the floodplain and upland landscape, and in upland slope, LSU, okay, this is 13, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 HRUs. In floodplain, there is 4 HRUs here, actually. So that's for one channel. Then there's for the next channel, the same thing. So it gives you the complete distribution of the area and the percentage within the watershed. Okay? So all these statistics will be useful to you later when you want to analyze your watershed in terms of which HRU contributes most pollution or most runoff, which is contributing most groundwater recharge, okay? Or where is the sediment coming from? So to do those analysis, or even let's talk about pesticides and things like that, we can analyze it through these, because HRU is the smallest land unit or smallest unit that the model, SWAT models, okay? Then group of HRUs become landscape, and the group of landscape becomes the subbasin, and from the subbasin to the watershed. Does that make sense? Any questions? Questions in understanding this table? Okay. Now we are ready to jump into the SWAT editor. So click on SWAT editor. It should, if you install it correctly, it should automatically open up the SWAT editor interface. Okay, SWAT plus editor interface. Anybody having problems? No? Good. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is, because you are opening the SWAT plus editor for this project the very first time, first you have to import from your project database. In this case, demo1.sqlite. Okay? And the project name can be same as your project here, or if you want to rename it, you can rename it also. Okay, and this is your model database. So if you don't have to make any changes, you don't have to, normally you don't have to, so start import, click start import. If you get an error message, let me know. I may need to give you a new SWAT plus editor, because I ran into some problem yesterday night, so I got a new one to get that fixed, actually. So I don't know whether you have an error message. It's on the latitude, longitude on your channel. Is it? Anyone else getting error message? Any error? No? Error?
There was an error importing your GIS data.
Okay. Did they say exactly what the error? No? Okay, why don't you look at that bottom one actually to see if there is any additional information about what error is that. Anyone else? Did you all get any error? No? Yes. Error? Okay, what is the error actually?
It says an error importing GIS data.
Same thing? Are you also same? Okay, what? Yeah? Without no error? Okay. Can you show me what error exactly so we can try to figure out if the fix
Cancel?
they send me is going to work or not?
It seems like it didn't finish the import.
Add the import.
Yes.
No, there was no input in GIS data. This is a different error than what I normally get. Okay. No, it's not able to. It's not able to go any further. Yeah.
Yesterday I did, but without the points.
Without the points. You mean point source? No.
Outlets and
Oh, okay. No, it should not be. Maybe it.
that's the one. Yeah, this one is I did
Yesterday.
yesterday.
Okay. This is different, right? This is yesterday project. Okay. Okay, it's something about ARPI, okay. But when you do the cancel, I don't think that project is imported. Okay, open a project, queue sort. Okay, can you? Yeah, let me give mine actually. Can you give me a thumbstick or something? Yeah. So that we can see if this one, the one I got now, got fixed or not. You can just install on top of that actually. Yeah. This is just a SWAT editor. If that fixed, then we can give it to everybody actually. So how many of you got error actually here? 1, 2, 3. Only 3 of you, the rest? So only with this side of the, there is some problem with this side of the, oh, okay. Anybody online, they had problems?
Yeah.
They do? Same problem? Okay, try installing that. Okay, if you want to, I mean, if this works and if you want to send this to the people who are in the other place, how would you do that actually? Do you have an FTP and not like a Google? By message? No, but can you upload to Google Drive or something and then send a message to the link? Okay. I mean, what is the version that you see here on the lower bottom? Is it 1.2.0? The bottom. 1. I'm using 1.2.2, so we'll see. I don't think it's a problem because some of them, they didn't have the problem actually. But yesterday I was trying something and they said, okay, I need to try the new version. So, well, let's wait. She's going to try on her machine. If that fixes the problem, so everybody will get the copy of this latest version. Yeah, you have to close the existing SWAT Plus editor. The QSWAT Plus, you can still keep it open. That's not a problem. Oh, it's still the same problem? Okay. Can you ask online how many people have the problem? In other words, are there somebody who has got without any problem? If somebody has got without any problem, maybe they can share the projects. That may be one option for the time being.
Okay, so their version is also
1.2.1, okay. And can you ask them, did everybody get the error or only some? Because like here also, only some got the error, not the others. No? Same error message? Okay. So since that did not fix the problem, I'll get a copy of your project. Just zip up the whole folder and give it to me. Then I'll send it to my people tonight and we'll find a fix. But since it did not solve the problem, could you get a copy from your neighbor and then continue the project? Okay, copy of the whole folder. Okay. Yeah, get them the pen drive. You can just copy it. Say, yeah. No, only those who have got problems. The others don't have to copy, only for those who have problems. Oh, they have problems? Okay. Oh, the rest are all okay? So I asked them if they can copy. Do you want me to copy mine to you?
No, I got the one from yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but have you copied this corrupt project? Yeah. Just zip it up, actually.
Ah, bom, A gente achou que fosse uma questão de versão, que estava com problema no erro, então eu testei uma nova versão que o Shirley me passou, mas isso não solucionou o meu problema aqui, que era alguma coisa específica. Então, como ainda está testando o software, eles vão testar hoje lá para ver se tem o que foi que aconteceu, porque um outro projeto que eu fiz ontem não deu problema, então é alguma coisinha específica que está acontecendo. Tanto que a gente acabou de fazer aqui, vocês não tiveram problema e eles tiveram problema. Mas então ele vai testar para ver, mas a gente não tem certeza o que é o problema agora. Não, não deveria ter, não. Porque a gente só fez com o exemplo também, entendeu? É que a questão de ponto e vírgula, acho que não é um problema nesse caso, mas pode ser sim um problema, pode sim ser um problema. Mas acho que não é nesse caso, não é o problema no caso. Mas é que ainda é recente, né, o SWOT Plus, então eles ainda estão... Mas qualquer erro que tiver também é questão de... Eles verificam lá e trazem uma solução também. Então.
Sometimes it will be much faster if you zip it and then copy, actually. Only 49. Version?
Yes.
Oh. But Jacqueline, I don't think she is using Python for her program. Huh? No, it should not. It should not, actually. This time around, we are taking care of a lot of those problems. So anyway, I'll send it to Jacqueline. She should be able to figure it out. It worked? I see. You went through the same, all the... Oh, okay. It's working. Anyway, I did...
Something that happened in the other one is I had a river that wasn't connected.
Oh, yeah, it can be very well.
Posso
Yeah, it
perguntar
can
de
be
novo
very
aqui,
well.
por favor?
I have tried another. I had several projects.
Okay.
Then I completed the same project and finished and tried again, and then it's working. And the last one I tried and it was not working. I had one of the rivers was not connected.
I
Then
see.
maybe that's the
Sure.
cause of the problem.
Sure, it can be very well.
Yes.
It could be the problem, actually. Yeah, I agree.
How did you make the reverse connection?
So everybody got a copy of the project, working copy now? So we can proceed, or anybody else do not have a copy? You have okay? Not yet. You're still waiting for this. You better take it from somebody else, probably, actually. Either the USB is very slow or the computer is slow, one of the two. When you successfully imported, you should see this, your demo. So this is a working project. These are all the past projects. Okay, so if you have more projects, it will show up more projects here, actually. Okay. Okay? Okay. So once it's successfully imported, so here is the GIS file, and here is your product. So you can just say start editing SWAT plus inputs. Okay? So that will open up the new menu. So this is start editing inputs, the very first one. So in that one, you'll be able to see the very first one is weather generator, weather stations. What is weather generator? Weather generator is a stochastic weather generator that can generate weather. Basically, it can, if you have a missing data, it can generate your precipitation or temperature or solar radiation or wind speed. These are all the 5 variables that you need for SWAT. Okay? So if you have a missing data or if you don't have data at all, let's say I don't have solar radiation, okay, then the model can simulate that based on historical statistics. Okay? So the historical statistics is what's in this weather generator. So you have to develop this historical statistics, weather generator data. we have developed for the entire world actually. Okay? So if you want, you can download them and use them, or you can develop your own stations. So here in the SWAT website, you can see this one here. From here, you can download the world weather generator data set actually. But if you have your own weather data set, in the SWAT website, when you go to the SWAT website, here we have tools. Under the software, we have tools such as the weather generator estimation tool. So if you have your own stations, your own weather data, like such as solar radiation, wind speed, relative humidity, precipitation, and maximum temperature, you need all 5 data set. Then you can provide to this tool. This is the access tool, and this is the same tool, but it's in Excel. So you can use any one of these tools to generate those statistics that you can input here as an input. Okay? Any questions? The main purpose here is to fill the missing data, or if you don't have the data at all, like wind speed, the program will generate that automatically on a daily basis. Okay? The wind speed, relative humidity, and solar radiation, they are used only to estimate evapotranspiration. Depending on the type of equation, so if you use Hargrave evapotranspiration, it uses only temperature. If you use Priestley-Taylor, it uses evaporation and solar radiation. If you use Penman-Monteith, then it uses temperature, solar radiation, wind speed, and relative humidity, all 4 variables. So depending on what evapotranspiration you use in the calculation, in the modeling, it will use accordingly the data set. Okay? So if you have all observation data set like you have in this watershed, you can provide all of them as an input. Then the model will not simulate anything, it will use only your input. But if you have a missing day, or missing week, or missing month, then the model will simulate. All missing data can be input with -99. So whenever the program sees -99, that means it's missing data, so it's going to go simulate that data, okay, based on weather generator. Any questions in understanding this, or any questions about the weather generator in general? Yes?
I had a lot of problems with missing precipitation data.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever I had a -99,
Yeah.
it would generate like 80,000 millimeters. Like, so I had to manually do the
Corrections.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's like a right way to put the -99 or.
No, I don't think it is the -99 that generating that 88,000. What maybe is your statistics may be wrong. I would go and check your statistics, the weather generator statistics, to see if the average, so the weather statistics is nothing but what is the probability of wet day after a wet day, or what is the mean monthly rainfall, what is how many number of days you have rainfall. If any one of these input, like especially the number of days of rain and the mean monthly rainfall, if that is wrong, then it can generate something like what you're talking about. So I think my recommendation would be to check the weather generator coefficients or the statistics to make sure they are within reasonable value.
And I also read some papers saying that calibration was better when using the PCP SWAT to estimate like precipitation gauges, but I couldn't manage to use it because like it's from like previous Windows version. Right. I don't know if you if there's any other software available for.
There are some software available for filling the gaps and things like that. I don't know of any public domain out there actually. The PCP SWAT is one nice thing. And in fact, I think he's either from Colombia or from Peru. I think somewhere in South America is the person who developed that software actually. And I don't think it got updated. It's more than 15 years since he developed it, actually, and it's never got updated. Probably he's not a student anymore. He's not a cheap labor. So it's expensive now, I think. So I don't know of anything right now offhand, but I can look into that a little bit more, actually. Yeah.
We used some tools, but from Python and R. They have some that you can use, but then you have to program a little bit. I can try to find, we did some different interpolations for SWAT using in Python, so I can try to find that.
Yeah, the interpolation is another interesting thing. Yeah, that's a very good point, what Daniel is saying. In fact, let's say if you have 5 gauges, one of the gauges is missing, the remaining 4 gauge you have the data, then instead of putting -99 for the one gauge, you will let the interpolate the 4 gauges and put that value there, actually. So there are tools for that, including R. Even you can use ArcGIS, for example, for that. There is all kinds of geostatistical technique and just simple inverse distance technique, things like that. You can use that, actually. But when you have 1 month missing, all the stations are missing, then you have major problem. Yeah. Yeah.
So our colleagues are asking more about the same because they have a lot of missing data there, and they're asking if it's better to use the SWOT filling or like doing another process like teasing polygons or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, any day the statistical software to do that is better than SWOT, actually. Because SWOT, what it does is just gap filling. It does not know anything about the other stations. It is just looking at that one station where the data is missing. So sometimes what happens if there is a rain or no rain, and it may, because it's a random stochastic weather generator, so it could behave bad, the SWOT generator. SWOT generator is much more applicable for non-rainfall data set like solar radiation, wind speed, and relative humidity and things. That's where it's very hard to come by. Whereas rainfall and temperature, most of the people will have it. If not, we can find another technique to fill the data.
Yeah, I think it's so one of it depends also on what is the distribution of your gauge station. So it depends what Srini is saying. If you have data close to it, it would be better for you to interpolate or do something like teasing polygons or inverse distance weighted or something like that. I actually, one of the papers that I might show in another day, we did that trying with the weather generator for just the solar radiation and temperature and wind speed and this, and it was okay, but not for precipitation. So precipitation, of course, it will be affect more. So if you can treat it beforehand, then it might be better. And it depends on how much data is missing, and so if you are using, so I think.
Who is in charge for precipitation? Is it ANA or somebody else, some other agency? For precipitation data set.
ANA has, and also we have the Meteorological Institute of Brazil, ENMET, that has all the 5 elements.
Okay. In addition to that, do you get any data from the local state agencies?
From local, state agencies. Here in São Paulo, we have a lot of from DAE, is called one of the state agencies that has a lot of data.
Do they submit to the federal government or no?
Yes.
They do?
To ANA.
ANA, okay.
Well, especially precipitation.
Okay.
So usually you can get all there. And but yeah, we probably could do the weather generator for Brazil easily. So I can get the data. And,
Excellent. Okay, so are there any other questions before I go to the next step here? Okay, if not, then, okay. So let's add weather generator now. Click on that. So here we can import our global data set that I talked about, which is available in the SWOT Plus website. Or if you have your own data, you can also import your own data. So click import data. Okay. So you can specify what database format it is. The one that I have right now, I'm going to show you is in a CSV file, comma delimited file. So CSV, okay. So this is what it is expecting. You should have a station CSV file and a monthly file with all this information. Okay. So browse. In the Rabbit folder, the example datasets Rabbit folder. So here is the monthly values, here is the station value. Okay, you see STAT, station. If you open, try to show you, it has got an ID, name of the station, latitude, longitude, and elevation, and number of years of rain. Okay, so that is your station data set. You know where it is, right? It's a C, SWAT, SWAT plus, example data set, and ROBIT. So select WGN, ROBIT, STAT, stat. Then open. That's your station file. And the next one is your monthly value. Okay. Again, browse. And here you are going to have this data in ROBIT month. WGN ROBIT month.csv. If I open this in a notepad, you will see all the statistics. Okay, so this is for each station, the statistics for the station. Okay. So these are the statistics that are generated by the tool I was showing you on the website. The database tool or an Excel tool can generate that statistics. So select open. So here is your CSV and here is your monthly values. If you are going to use observed data set, okay, this is generated, right? So in addition to this, you can say, here is my daily rainfall. Here is my daily temperature. Okay, then check this box. Okay. So once you check this box, it is not going to create weather data based on WGN. It's going to expect you to provide the daily data. Okay, the temperature data, the precipitation data, and so on. So click Start Import. So it's imported. Just one station is very quick, and that's what the station that you have imported. So if you are used to the old SWAT interface, the new one is changed. You need to get used to it. There is a lot of changes here. And you can see the data. And if you want to look at the values, you can always look at it here actually. You can do a quick browse. When you click that, it will show you all the information.
There was an error importing your data. Fail to execute script SWAT plus. Import weather generation data.
Yeah.
And the weather generator?
Okay. So when you are importing the data, I want to make sure you are importing the right data set. You click Import Data. And in the station, make sure you select CSV files. Then in the station CSV file, go to your ROBIT folder, C, SWAT, SWAT plus, example data set, ROBIT. In there, you should see a file called WGN ROBIT _stat. Make sure you select this here. And in the monthly values, make sure you select in the same location, WGN ROBIT month, mon.csv. And also go and, if you are...
I don't have this option. Delete existing.
Yeah, because that I already imported, that's why. Okay. So, but if you have this option, the using observed weather data, go ahead and check that box. And then click import. Did it work? No? Same problem? How many? Who all has problems? Oh, everybody now. But you didn't have the problems.
It's
Yeah,
one
but
time
still.
only.
So,
But I didn't have it. So I don't know.
anyone online have problems?
Are you sure you're using the right files for each? Yeah. Stat. Okay. Okay, let's see. Database. Maybe we can do the CFSR? No.
Yeah, we can do the CFSR.
let me
We can
check.
certainly do
Check.
CFSR.
Eu acho que não era para ser.
Oh? Path is wrong? Oh, okay. Okay, even if you want, we can.
Special.
Yeah, let me go through the path one more time from the.
No, because they have different paths.
Oh, I see. Is it working? Oh, there also? Okay. Coffee break. Okay, go ahead and mention that to everybody, I guess. There also. We'll try to fix it while the coffee break time, actually. So.